Hi, this is Barbara Yolles, and you're listening to Your Beautiful Day on the Gratitude Radio Network.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast of Your Beautiful Day on the Gratitude Radio Network and also the Neil Haley Show, syndicated all over the world. And I'm excited to welcome the program my co-host, Pearl Chiarenza. Pearl, how are you? We've been going solo without Jenn. Sometimes we do it without Pearl and sometimes without Jenn, but always with me. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks, Neil. I love, it's fun. You get a little mix up. It's a lot of fun to be able to do that. And so I'm really excited because this is like my wheelhouse. I always need help with this subject matter. So I'm so excited for our guest that we have today, who is Barbara Yolles, and she's with LUDWIG Plus. And we're going to talk about marketing, and especially in this time with COVID, like the marketing tools and what's a great strategy. So I'm excited. Plus, she's also a woman-owned business. So, for me, that's really my wheelhouse. So I'm excited. Welcome, Barbara.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So we'll go with Pearl's first question. I'll go follow up, but I could pick her brain for hours just because I have no marketing background. I mean, I have a digital marketing tech company and I'm a branding expert, but I have no marketing background. I learned it all self-taught. So it's always interesting to look at it a different thing when she's defining CMO and all that stuff, because that business world acumen, probably 2 years. I was on my own for 10 and now work for a company, but also have multiple businesses. But it's very interesting. So go ahead, Pearl, with your first question, but I have a lot of questions for Barbara.
I'm right there with you. I have tons of questions myself, but I think let's start out with CMO and what is that? So those who are listening that might not know what that title means.
Well, people say, well, where'd you come from and how'd you become CMO? And I always say, did you ever see Mad Men? Do you ever watch the show?
I've watched only a little bit of it, but I want to go through all of it. But yes, for sure.
Yeah. So they featured two agencies, McCann Erickson and Campbell Ewald. I worked at both of them. And I would say advertising hasn't changed a lot since then. That was, in the 60s, probably, except for the fact that people don't smoke in conference rooms. And I guess today a woman can be CEO, right? So that's probably the biggest difference. And I thought I worked my way up through the agency world and became the CMO of two large agencies. And I thought I had the greatest job in the world until Adweek came out with an article that said the worst job in advertising was CMO, right? Wow. And in a lot of companies, CMO is one of the most important positions in a company because you're driving brand and you're driving business growth. But you've got a bullet on your back, right? And so Bill Bernbach, a famous ad guy, always said, there's the promise of sex or the threat of death, right? And so as a CMO, you're kind of faced with that, right? And you want to make sure that you come in and you're going to be able to make a difference and make a mark at the company that you're leading marketing for and driving brand and business growth.
See, and that's the hardest part, Barbara. I think many companies do not have a good marketing team. And this is right off the bat, talking corporate world, talking the business world, not talking, certain personal brands. Some of them have really good marketing teams. Well, that's why they're such a success. But when you talk about a company that has internally hired somebody to be the marketing director, a lot of times they don't have enough marketing experience really to run that company, especially if you're looking at self-starters, early stage companies in so many ways. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think, part of the challenges is that you have to really look at a brand from the inside out and really look at what's the DNA of a brand and what makes up that brand, the people, the behaviors, the purpose, the mission. And if you can tap that and unearth that, that actually can activate what your brand is and create a North Star for what your people are striving for. It becomes a filter by the way you do business. And so marketing and branding today is much more than creating a really catchy tagline or just putting an ad on TV. It's really about, it's behavioral. And it's something that you have to feel at every intersection of a company. And that's where great marketing happens. And I think to your point, Neil, a lot of people don't really think of it in those terms, right? It can be,
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
from the receptionist all the way up to the CEO, right?
Exactly. And marketing leads to sales. I don't care what anyone does, and you have to invest a lot in marketing to finally have that machine running sales and become a brand. If you don't spend money early, you're going to lose in the long run. It might not look like it's going to be a return on your investment at first. You have to stay the course and keep looking at it, because ultimately what you build in your brand to become finally a brand takes a long time, especially when you're talking about a company that's a face of a logo, not a face of a personal business or a personal brand versus a marketing brand,
Right.
versus a company brand. And it's such a different,
Well,
different.
and I mean, look, here's the thing is that, you know, talking about being a CMO, you're under pressure, right?
Yes.
You've got to deliver, you've got to prove
Always.
your value and make a mark, right? And so while it does take time to build a brand, as a CMO, the lifespan is less than 24 months. In fact, I think the number right now is running around 20 months or less. So if you don't perform in 20 months, that's what CMOs lose sleep over, right? Because they need to deliver sales and drive revenue. And so that's where the pressure point is, the pain points are. And on the flip side, the CMO should be about inspiration and aspiration and creating that North Star that people who work for you buy into and want to be part of, and that your customers want to buy. And that's the challenge.
All right, go Pearl, next question. But I think what we're leading down the road in this is how that pressure, why is there's not the success rate of staying a long time as a CMO. But go ahead, Jen. Go ahead, Pearl, with your next question.
Yeah, you said a lot of things there, Barbara. As a business owner myself, like I've been really through COVID, like really doing that whole pivoting and really digging deep and breaking down, you know, who my avatar and what she looks like and what she does, right? And so now that I've narrowed her down and I know what Becky looks like, now it's like, how do I let the other Beckys of the world know? And so having a CMO, while as an entrepreneur, it's not where I don't have that CMO yet, but if for an entrepreneur, what would be the one thing, taking your experience and saying, if there's one thing somebody starting out should do, what's the one thing that you suggest they should do? And I'll let you do that question first.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is you really have to understand what your core purpose is, right? It's your why, right? What's your why? And if you can define your why, and most people focus on the how and the what, right? And if you can understand what your why is, then your people can buy into your why, your customers can buy into it, and then you build that brand from the inside out, right? We call it inside out transformation. And so it's really about who you are. And, you know, I came from fast food once upon a time. I was the head of marketing for the East Coast of McDonald's. I was part of the team that launched the dollar menu. And McDonald's is selling hamburgers and French fries, right? And Wendy's is selling hamburgers and French fries, and Burger King selling hamburgers and French fries. But each brand has a different core purpose, right? And the decisions that they make at those companies are very different. Wendy's would never think about cutting a tomato any thinner than 1/4 of an inch because they'd lose their quality cue, and that's what they stand for, right? Whereas Burger King is a little more irreverent, and they might have different flavors and profiles, right? So that's why I think if you do one thing, know what your core purpose is and where you're headed, because if you can articulate that, then you can deliver it in your product development, in your service levels, in the way you build your product and deliver your product. That would be the number one thing. And then from there, obviously, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit to try to drive business growth.
Absolutely.
Why do many?
Sorry, go ahead, Neil.
No, I was going to say, Barbara, why are many marketing agencies not able to deliver the bang for the buck, meaning that they just don't understand? They want to be on a different playing field than sales. They don't want to look at what they do.
It's such a good question. You know, the agency world is very focused on delivering the ask of the client.
Right.
Where we've kind of brought a new proposition is really thinking about we're the client and how do we drive growth? And there's more to driving growth, like I said earlier, than just running an ad on TV, right? It might be re-engineering somebody's sales team. And so that aligns to what the brand's purpose is. It could be re-engineering how somebody calls into a call center so that we can get them their product or their service or their whatever information they need quicker. And so today's world order, the brand is not just about an ad or a commercial or a theme line. It's really about experiences and the experiences people have. If you have people who are
Exactly.
delivering great service, then that can be a brand experience.
That's a great point. Go ahead, Pearl, with the next question. But I think that the fact of the matter is, I love hearing that why, because the why factor of why the company's around is what everything should be targeted based on it. For example, the company I'm with right now, Lensec, our demo is our best product. It's the thing that's not being seen enough. The demo shows that even though we're a smaller company than many other VMSs, our demo makes what we are. So everything our marketing should be behind the demo, because the demo is what leads to sales.
Totally. And look, I was CMO of 2 large financial services companies, both wildly successful. They built their companies on the back of sales, hardcore outbound sales. When we installed marketing, it was exponential growth. These are companies that went from $8 billion to $108 billion. Went from a portfolio of 100,000 customers to 500,000 customers in a matter of 18 months. Why? Because we were able to articulate and unearth the soul of that brand from the inside out and then make it touch every single touch point. Products were developed that way. Technologies developed that way. That's where, to your earlier point, Pearl, it's about the role of the CMO is really more about driving brand across every every corner of an organization. It's way bigger than just a tagline, right? Taglines are great. Don't get me wrong. We've created
it's got to live and breathe in everything. The problem we have sometimes is websites not aligned to the social media. Social media is not aligned to the other types of marketing, trade shows and all that. Everything needs to be a cohesive unit, as you talked about before. Let's go to the next question for Pearl. But I completely agree.
Yeah, I totally agree as well. So tell us, Barbara, why CMOs you talked about earlier, why do they have that short span life, that lifespan of shortness? What's happening there?
It really depends. I think, there's a method to coming in, and a lot of CMOs want to make sure that they've got, good research in place. They've got, kind of an airtight business case before they take it to market. And I think in today's world, you have a lot more permission to get to market faster, and you need to get to market faster because you're usually leaving money on the table. We're working on a project right now, brand new CMO. She just joined a huge company, huge financial services company, a brand that is probably should be well known by many and isn't, right? They have a portfolio of 2 million customers. And she understands the need to get to market quickly because her business counterparts have wild goals for 2021, double in size, right? And they're coming off of one of the strongest years and this is in the mortgage space. So coming off of one of the wildest years in mortgage, right? Rates haven't been this low in 50 years.
It's not going to be that way next year.
Right. And so you need your brand in place because it's easy to do a mortgage when rates are low. It's hard to do a mortgage when rates go up. Right. So people have to buy into something. And so to your question, why do CMOs, what makes them successful or not successful? It's the ones who come in with an eye to driving the business. You have to have an eye to driving the business, and you have to have a sensibility around, is that brand and that way you go to market going to accelerate the growth of a company, galvanize its people, and create an internal rally cry that is felt and cascades out to its end consumers, and whether it's B2B or B2C, right?
And marketing could destroy the whole thing if you don't have the right marketing in place. And there are not tons of CMOs all over the place. So why are some startups not have a CMO? They'll have a marketing director, but that's not really a CMO. Or they'll have a VP of marketing and sales. They go hand in hand, but really you need to have the right experience, right, to run a company in marketing.
Yeah, and I think in the, once upon a time in the old days, I worked on a brand where we spent 18 months doing brand positioning work. Today we have technology. We can get to market in a week or two. We have research back from consumers, so we know how they feel, right? And what we try to do is marry the inside DNA with the quality of life, that insights that a customer wants. And if we can do that quickly, we can get to market and continue to ideate and build it out. But you don't have to, the days of, I have to have the perfect campaign all packaged and ready to launch. Those days are gone, right? You have an iPhone and they come out and they're iterating and iterating and iterating. We have permission to do that today. So MVP is okay with your brand. Obviously, you got to have certain elements in place, but I think that's the barrier. Is a lot of CMOs don't have the infrastructure. They need the backing of their CEO, and they need to be able to understand. They need to dig into the business and look for where the business opportunity is, and go for the low-hanging fruit. And that's where we start. We say, all right, we're going to build the brand, but what's the low-hanging fruit that I can start moving the business right away, so that I'm proving my value as a CMO within 90 days. I mean, when I became CMO of one financial services company, I brought the brand idea on day 9. We launched on day 97, right? It was chronicled alongside a bunch of CMOs, and that's the key to success for a CMO and for a CEO who's investing significant money in marketing, because we all know marketing gets cut first.
Exactly. And that's true. And they don't want to spend money in marketing. And that's the biggest mistake possible. Go ahead, Pearl, with your next question.
Yeah, that's where for me, I'm always about marketing. Like, how can I market myself? And I've got some people go, social media here, right? So like, no, I can't be in 20 spaces. I can't manage. Right now I don't have a CMO, which I'm actually starting to talk to somebody about that. So if you were to say, like, what do you find? What was that?
We should talk.
We need to talk. I would love to talk. But So if you were to say, like, because I'm like you, I want to go my low hanging fruit. That's where I'm going right now. I know my client base. I know where they're kind of hanging out right now. So social media wise, with COVID and everything that's happening, what are you seeing a trend? Are you seeing any new trend with it?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously people are spending more time with social media, a lot more time. They're spending a lot more time with television, actually, and programmatic. They're online a lot more. So we're seeing, increase in marketing for sure. Social is a great place to start, because I don't care what business you're in, people go online to check you out
all the time,
right? It's online word of mouth. So at a minimum, if you do anything, make sure you have a strong online reputation, and you do that through reviews, through ratings, through social media, and not just about your product. Shed light on who you are, right? It's this whole notion of inside out transformation. Make sure people know who you are on the inside, how your company works, that you're a good corporate citizen, that you have a core purpose and mission, so they have something to buy into, because they look at companies as a representation of who they are.
That's right.
And how they fit in their life. And so with COVID, I think that is just like, the stakes are even higher, and the entry point is more has lowered, right? So it allows you to get into the game without a lot of cost out of the gate.
Exactly. It's just really figuring out who your customer is, or who your client is. That's the biggest problem. People create something, yet they don't know who to go to, who is the low-hanging fruit. And I'm sure what you're bringing up in marketing is, we found that customer. How do we find that customer so they see our brand, right? When you're talking low-hanging fruit.
Totally, right? So it's two things. Know who you are, know who your customer is, and what's that sweet spot between the two. And that's where the transformation occurs. That's where the business acceleration happens.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like, before all this and, with COVID, I had a goal was in like 2025 I do women's retreats every year, they're pajama retreats. So my goal was 2025 to do a West Coast one. Well, because of this COVID, the great thing for me is I've done so much Zoom, and with Neil's help, I've actually got a 2022 2022 West Coast retreat coming now. So yeah, it's just been remarkable that low hanging
fruit. It's great to hear
fruit.
that my help. I didn't even.
Yes, it's all your help, Neil.
I know it tells me.
Oh, you're marketing.
That's why Barbara wants to have a conversation with me to say and probably recruit me. But the fact of the matter is, the thing online, so many people don't understand online. And I think that lots of people that took marketing courses and went through marketing do not understand the online world, Barbara. And I think that's the other challenge, right, for a CMO now, is to really understand how to navigate online, especially if they were doing more trade shows and trade shows have disappeared and all these things. How do we do that? Like, I think the online trade shows don't work. So you spend more money on social media marketing. You could target more. You can really find your customer and spend more money and probably have a better result.
Look, digital brings so much one-to-one communication, right? And obviously it depends on the category you're in, right? Certain highly regulated categories, you have some limitations. But the great thing about online and digital is if you know who your customers are, if you have a database of customers, you can find them online, right? You can upload your database right into Facebook or LinkedIn or whichever platform you're on and get a match rate and speak directly to your customer, right? So that's huge. That's a huge way, and it's trackable. So, back to, the life of a CMO, you want proof. You want to deliver results. You want to show that, I'm not just putting, unicorns and rainbows out there, but I'm actually delivering, the sale.
And when you're a CMO, you better have the marketing budget to be successful. Because if you take that gig and when you're in that interview process and you're not given the keys, you're not going to have success. Right, Barbara? And I'm going to go right.
Very true. Yeah, no, I have a lot of colleagues and clients and friends who are in CMO positions, and you have to have alignment with the CEO of the company, and we work that way. We actually come in as if we operate as if we are the CMO of our clients' businesses. And that's one of the key questions is what commitment do we have to drive the business, and what commitments from a budgetary standpoint, from resources, allowing us to infiltrate and interrogate the organization to find those nuggets of content that we can push out that everybody else says, oh, that's just what we do regularly. No, that's content. I'm going to push it on social, right? Whoever thought I could find some content from an underwriter?
Exactly.
Right?
Never thought that.
There's content, on the French fry line of a fast food restaurant, right? There's content everywhere. And so you need to have that support and buy-in, both budget, human resources, and kind of a no holds bar back way of, looking at every corner of an organization to find those gold nuggets.
All right, Pearl, next question. Yeah, go ahead, Pearl. Next question.
I used to do mortgages, Barbara. That was my other world. And I used to do the pre-underwriting. And so I would have clients go, why are you asking for that? I would go, listen, like when you're arrested, you're innocent until proven guilty. In my world, you're guilty until I prove you innocent, So they're like, oh, I get it. But so with the changes and everything, is there one, like, I just learned something new with LinkedIn. I didn't know that you could upload your clients into LinkedIn like that. So that's a really great tool.
Yeah, it's a great tool. I think the other thing I would highlight is, finding an emotional, humanizing a brand, right? People want to buy into something.
Exactly.
It's not just, people say, oh, well, what does that mean? Well, you buy a bottle of water, you pay $1, good value, right? But you want a certain brand of water, maybe you like Fiji or Smart Water, whatever it is, right? And that commands more because you're buying into what that brand is about. And that's where that connection point comes between a company and its end consumer. So let's talk about that's a critical ingredient.
Let's talk about your business, meaning you took from being a CMO to becoming the CMO of other companies that can't hire that CMO. You're almost like that consultant that comes in, like in, I forget that one HBO show where they come in and they fix everything and come in and tell you, hey, you need to fix this, and this. You're here to help.
I think it was more like Power Rangers and really cute outfits.
Okay, we'll go with that. Let's just explain exactly, if you are a business watching or listening right now, how you can help them and who are you looking for?
Yeah, so we're kind of a perfect solution for companies who are kind of going through this decision-making process of, do I hire an ad agency or do I build my own in-house marketing department? And what we've created is the best of both worlds, right? The in-house marketing department typically has more sense around the business, the strategy, how to accelerate business, can really get into every department corner of the company. And then the ad agency world is a magnet for the top, most creative talent. And because of my role being CMO on the corporate side and having been CMO on the agency side, we constructed a concept where we marry those two worlds together. And we come in and we operate as if we're outsourced. It's more analogous to say you hire outsourced general counsel. People hire us, we come in, we operate as if we are the marketing department. I work directly with the CEO, and in most cases, a lot of our clients don't have internal marketing departments, and if they do, we work hand in hand with them as if we're one big team. So we bring in an expertise around strategy and business, but we also bring all the creativity and the ability to produce anything from, a digital asset to big brand ideas to a sales team playbook. Right? We're thinking through the full circle. So we've had a lot of success. We're just over a year old. We won Stevie Awards, Company of the Year, Female Executive of the Year. I'm proud to say we're closing the year double our size. We were 12 months, and by the end of first quarter, we'll be triple our size.
Well, congrats. And
Very exciting.
I could see it's so needed. And a lot of people can't hire a marketing team that would cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars while bringing someone in, but then also bring the results as well. And
that's the sale, Neil, right? Most companies can't afford a $3, $4, $5 million marketing department, right? So we come in and we give them that same team, the highest caliber of talent at a fraction of the cost. So it's a very new concept. We're very excited about it.
It definitely seems like it. All right, Pearl, with that final question for Barbara, and Barbara, definitely stick around after the interview's over. We want to chat for a couple of minutes, but go ahead, Pearl, with that final question.
So Barbara, we always love to know, and I'm sure you've got plenty, but we always love to know, what is a moment of gratitude that you can think of? I probably can name a couple of them just listening to you today, but share with us a moment of gratitude for yourself and with the audience.
Gosh, I mean, I think the greatest moment for me this year was closing out our year as a 1 year old, just over 1 year old company, being a woman-owned agency in a industry that is, very few women-owned companies, and being able to make such impact. And I'm just so proud of the team. They've won, over 12 awards this year. And for me, I'm grateful. We couldn't do this without the people at Ludwig Plus. And so I have huge gratitude for everyone on our team. It's all about our people.
Fantastic. And Pearl, another great show for sure. Barbara, where can we check you out and find more information on you? Where can we go?
Yeah, LudwigPlus.com, LUDWIGPLUS.com. And we're headquartered in the greater Detroit area. So we got a lot of fantastic, wicked, amazing talent.
Fantastic. Wow. What a great show. Again, a great show of simulcast. Thank you, Pearl, again, for being my co-host. And that was, again, your beautiful day on the Gratitude Radio Network and also the Neil Haley Show. Take care.